Hi, I'm Professor Ben Carpenter from St. Thomas, and I'll be teaching Comparative Trust and Estates this summer in Rome. I hope to have the opportunity to teach it to you there. I want to take a moment to tell you about the class. I got three goals for the class. First and foremost, this is a traditional Trust and Estates class at its core. So if you take the class this semester, or this summer in Rome, it will satisfy any requirements, whether you're at Villanova or St. Thomas, for Trust and Estates in the future. So if you'd like to take an advanced class, estate planning or Trust and Estates, or Trust and Estate tax, this will satisfy that for you. And in fact, you won't be able to take your basic Trust and Estates class in your second or third year if you take this class, because it'll meet that requirement. So because of that, we're going to do some heavy doctrine in basic Trust and Estates. But Rome is actually a wonderful place to do that, because a lot of American trust and estate law originated in Rome and has changed over time. But we'll look at its origins and how it got to where it's at today. On top of that, then, though, we'll layer in some international aspects that you wouldn't typically get in a second year or third year Trust and Estates class. For instance, we'll look at how other cultures view wealth and the transfer of wealth. For instance, Sharia law has very specific laws on transferring wealth, and we'll look at that together. We'll also look at different vehicles to do so in other cultures, and asset titling. Trusts, for instance, are probably the primary way in America that people transfer wealth privately among generations. There are over 3 million trusts in the United States. France does not even recognize the concept of trust. It doesn't exist in France. So we'll look at that, the differences, the advantages and disadvantages, and why each country has gone a different way. And then finally, we'll look at a little bit of a view of transfer taxes, estate taxes, gift taxes around the world. We'll talk about the American system and how that differs from other countries. Now that will be a very brief, just kind of an introduction for those of you who are interested in taking a more advanced class, and that will help illustrate some of these concepts as well. And then the third goal for this class, I really want to bring this, make this an up-to-date and current class for you, and hit on the current events in estate planning. I practiced in estate planning for a number of years, and I'll bring those experiences into the classroom and make it a practical experience. We'll talk about client counseling. I'll give you a chance to do some of that. We'll talk about drafting wills. I'll have you draft some sample provisions and relate that to the provisions we've been studying in the book. I'll show you some sample forms for documents that I drafted while I was practicing. And then we'll talk about some current issues as well, that are just kind of hot topics in estate planning, like social media and who has rights to social media when you die or when your children die. Posthumous conception and assisted reproduction. That's created a lot of issues in estate planning recently. So we'll talk about some of those issues as well. So I hope that sounds interesting to you. Estate planning work it's a really rewarding area of the law. It's a very personal area of the law, and there's actually a lot of new law being created each year with some of these current issues. So I look forward to going through that with you and sharing the summer in Rome together.